easy with the European Union. So that's, I think, the first thing that we might begin to notice is that early recruitment of people at postdoctoral level or maybe PhD student level even begins to drop away from what we've experienced in the past. Now, we're obviously going to work very hard to make sure that doesn't happen. So we will be trying to make it still very attractive to come to UCL and to London for all Europeans, but also, of course, to the rest of the world as well. And as long as we keep a good pipeline of talent coming into this institution from home, from Europe, and from the rest of the world, I'd be very confident that we can continue to function at the highest level.
So this year marks the 40th anniversary of China's opening up and reform. So how do you comment on China's development?
Well, I've personally witnessed it because I've been going to China for many years. And obviously the improvements and the lifestyle and the infrastructure that is now available in China is just absolutely amazing. I've seen your higher education system grow, expand and develop international levels of excellence that are completely different to 40 years ago. And I think overall as well, the other thing that's very noticeable when you go to China is that prosperity amongst Chinese citizens is obviously improving and actually very widely across society. So that's impressive too.
So what does the future hold for UCL and the next 10 years and beyond?
I think our major aim is to continue to perform research and education at that highest international level and to begin to have an impact on some of the world's most pressing problems. The sort of things that we have been looking at here have been global health, human well-being, sustainable cities, equality and justice. So in these areas of very broad investigation and study, we want to make a real difference in the world. And I'd like to be able to point in 10 years' time to 2 or 3 things that have just been huge for this university. We were talking about this only this morning, what's our biggest ever achievement in the whole history of UCL? And it's so difficult to choose one, but we were talking about things like Charles Kao, the Nobel laureate from Hong Kong, who just very sadly died, but he invented fiber optics that enabled the internet to happen. That's a huge impact. That's the sort of discovery that we're very proud of. We've got some new ones. We've got some very good new techniques for immunotherapy of cancer, T-cell activation to attack the cancer. That's going to be massive on a global scale, and it came from UCL and from our basic research. So we're very, very proud of those big achievements, and if I could point in 10 years' time to another 2 or 3 of those, I'd be very proud. Other things for us, we're expanding, and in particular we're starting a new campus called UCL East. That's going to help us grow our engineering talents. It's going to help us with greater activity and achievements in arts and humanities, social sciences, and in the built environment. There, we've also got some developments in global health management and in advanced financial accountancy. So we've got a new series of disciplines springing up from the academic excellence of this institution that we're going to provide new facilities for in the east of London. And rather like this part of the university changed this part of London way back in the 1800s, we anticipate that our presence in the east of London will also help to develop that part of London to be more prosperous, better job prospects, and to be a new development for London that we can all be proud of.
So how is your personal background helpful for you as the president of UCL?
So I grew up not that far from here, around about 25 miles away in a new town called Harlow in Essex. I was given chances in life to learn and to better myself through education. I ended up going to medical school in a university to the south of here in Southampton, and my career has developed from that point. So I think that gives me a good grounding and a good understanding of why education is so important in our lives. And it allows me to bring that philosophy to the way in which I lead UCL.
So I finished my questions. Maybe Eric will take over.
I'll do some follow-up questions.
Sure.
To illustrate more about the Chinese students' role and their contribution to the universities, either academically or financially.
Academically, definitely. No university runs purely for its finances. Okay, so obviously keeping the finances straight is an important part of running an institution. But I think the main reason that we like to be so international is that we find that environment highly creative. When you've got people tackling problems together and coming at it from completely different starting points and different cultures, then you get the extra creativity that makes a difference and ideas fly and spark. We also like the Chinese students because they're very entrepreneurial and they have that sentiment. And we've got some interesting examples. I think it was 4 of our students, we'll give you the right number, but I think it was 4 of our students just won the $1 million Hult Prize, and that was for their role in innovation. And they've come up, I haven't actually seen the piece of equipment yet, but they've come up with a solar-powered system for drying rice, which on a global scale could make a huge difference to food supply. So, you know, that came from them, and it came from this institution coming together, and we should be very, very proud of that. And as I said, you know, because we get the pick of the very best from China, then the academic quality and the academic contribution that they make to UCL is huge.
You were the first VC of a Russell Group University when you served at Leeds University. And personally, I think that's a great thing. And this question is about the tricky balance that a university has to strike between the elite university or a more inclusive university. I think you are the best person to comment on that.
Inclusion is important because it brings that diverse set of talents to the institution. But you're right. There's a balance with academic excellence. I wouldn't use the elite word. I don't think we are elitist. We have academic excellence at its highest level, coupled with inclusion wherever we can achieve it. And when you put those two things together, it's a powerful force. And just to correct you, I was the first Russell Group Vice Chancellor that went to a comprehensive school, and I'm very proud of that. And there have been a few more since. But my background, I think, has been very important in the way in which I've led this university and also the University of Leeds before this.
We saw this Jeremy Bentham body sitting there, as it has been. And I personally wrote an article about it when they exhibited the hat of Jeremy Bentham. I was invited here and wrote a story about that. And it rouses huge curiosity among Chinese readerships. So I would like to ask you this: how definitely you are part of it. I mean, supporting that the body sits here as traditional, as the tradition goes. So, what kind of message do you think that sent to the new students? I mean, the first thing here, possibly tour around here, and how about the head of him?
Well, Jeremy Bentham epitomises everything that this university stands for. He was a philosopher of the day in the 1800s. By the time the university opened, he was already 83 years old, which of course back in the 1800s was very elderly. And he was therefore highly revered, highly respected. He wrote prolifically, so he was a very productive academic philosopher. And many people think he was one of our founders. He wasn't, but he was a guiding influence to the people that founded this university. He always spoke his mind. He was critical. He was radical. He had the philosophy of utilitarianism, so the greatest good for the greatest number of people. And all of that atmosphere has stayed in and around this university. It's one of the reasons that we attract very good staff and very good students. And we're very proud of it. I mean, I literally walk past him every day. And as I walk past, I always think to myself, Jeremy will be keeping an eye on me today. I better do a good job, particularly for the students. He was always very keen on the student body. He was also, by the way, one of the first people to coin the term international. And this university has been international right from its beginning. And you know, when we look back, the pattern of distribution of international students was very different back then. It represented more the colonial history of the UK. So a lot of the students, international students back then, were from the Caribbean or from the Indian